G'day, paint liquor. Hello there, Minimator. What's happening? Topolis, you thieving bastard. Stealing my bust away from me, how dare you? Oh, Quiff. No, mate, it wasn't you. The sale went live at 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon for me. Which is great. Except for the fact that I'm at work at 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. And I was expecting it to happen, so I was floating around on my computer, and then I had to go and do something. I spent 20 minutes walking around doing something. I come back, fucking too late. Everything's sold and gone. It was a disgrace. Highly pun expected. It was an absolute stitch up. I had a closer look at the bust though. Yeah, no. Topless would never do such a thing. He's a wonderful human being. I had a close look at the bust, and I'm like, said, yeah, I'm okay that I missed it. It's fine. It's a nice bust, but there's a lot of nice busts out there. Yeah. It's been a common problem, as I understand. So my plan to do a gigantic sci-fi diorama has suddenly become significantly more real, as I recently purchased all of the things I would need for said diorama during Black Friday sales. So I bought 10 odd models, and then I started researching how to make LEDs, how to wire together many LEDs for a neon sci-fi landscape. I started re-watching Altered Carbon to get a nice picture on cool sci-fi landscape. So yeah, it's suddenly just become not a project for the distant future. Oh, yeah, I was going to talk about episode 4. Glorious! Episode 4 was glorious, the best one yet. I feel like, and this is a common thing with shows, in my experience, the first couple of episodes are never representative of the show. They usually are too busy trying to set up information and pacing and what have you. Well, that one was one of the slowest episodes in terms of what happened. Thank you. But it was also one of the most interesting and compelling stories. Yeah. So the prologue of the very first book is called The Eye of the World. First book. And in the prologue, you actually it's set in the Age of Legends. And so the book starts with you finding out about the dragon and the breaking of the world through the eyes of someone who is not fully cognizant. So to have to have that background of knowledge not provided in the show, I imagine at some stages it'd be difficult to follow what's happening. But yeah, that little bit of extra info about why everything is the way that it is and who Loghain's pretending to be or thinks that he is was really good. Yeah, that's a good shout. I watched that there was the showrunner of the show, Rafe Judkins, did an AMA on Reddit, and came out with a lot of interesting facts. One of them is that the prologue scene may actually still occur in the show, just not at the start of episode 1. So it may actually occur later on in the season when the dragon is reborn. But he also said that they didn't want to do the first episode with an actor, and I'll give a little spoiler here, with Luz the Rintelamon. Won't mean anything to you if you don't know the books. They didn't want to cast an actor as Luz the Rintelamon until he was going to play a more significant part in the show. So for those who've read the books, you'll understand that. And I found that to be quite an interesting observation, particularly based on... I don't think I could say that without being a spoiler, so I won't. But yeah, it's a good episode, really good episode. Insight into the Aes Sedai and their power structures. Insight into the threat and the danger that false dragons and dragons in general present to the world. Some fucking amazing shots. That first shot over Geldon, sweeping over the top. Mad dogging. Yeah, I find it uncomfortable actually. It's so almost alien-like. I can't even cop it. No, when did that get announced? Huh. Alrighty. Yeah. He's done a lot of really beautiful sculpts, Lucas. A lot of really incredibly beautiful sculpts. Some of them don't work for me, but on the whole, beautiful. So I have this one. I have this one. I don't have Garfio. I painted the Elf Rider. I painted Mama Booho. I didn't get either of those two. I painted Kong. I regret not getting the Fawns. That's probably the biggest regret I have. I painted the Wise Woman. I painted the Sheep Rider. I didn't get the Alchemist, but I'm not lost that fussed. The Troll is fine, but I didn't get it. I did the Pirates. I did her. She was the second model I painted on stream. I did the Miner. I didn't get Borosaurus. I'm not that invested in Squigs. Seven Dwarves I would have liked to have painted, but I'm also not like, I wish I painted that. Kappa I thought I got, but apparently I didn't, because it hasn't arrived. Cool. Troglodyte, yeah. I sort of feel that his busts, not that they've gotten worse, because obviously they objectively haven't, but he's just moved into material and topics that I find less engaging and interesting as a painter. Which is why when the Goblin one came out, I was super jazzed, because I was like, oh, this is right up my alley. I'm super pumped to paint that. This one feels like it's going back to the other style, which is to say a topic that I'm not as enthusiastic about painting. I like the wizard, the child. No. 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 Come on, Lucas. Do some dudes fighting, mate. Come on. Fighting dudes. Gary Robbie's hobbies. Morning for me. I've been reading a lot of reviews of I've been reading a lot of reviews of The Wheel of Time, and seeing a lot of people being really upset by changes to the show from the books. And first of all, you cannot adapt a book series of that size word for word. You just can't. It just is not possible. And second of all, the medium of television has different requirements to the medium of a book. One of the things that you can't g'day, Alex, g'day. One of the things you can't replicate in a book very well is that cliffhanger, because all you got to do is turn the next page and you're like, boom, here we go. Yeah, it needs to change to reflect the medium and what the medium does. A weekly cliffhanger is a fucking epic way of keeping people's interest from week to week. And so the cliffhanger that they've gone with in this first season is the question of who is the Dragon Reborn. And one of the changes that they've made to the books is that they've introduced the possibility that the Dragon Reborn could be a female. Well, book readers are having a blow up, an absolute blow up, because they're like, well, that destroys all of the magic system. You know, the magic system is all about males and females. This is just white culture. White culture, it's just a fucking disgrace. Of course they're not going to change it. Of course they're not going to change who it is, you fucking mugs. Like, get real. That's just one of the dumbest observations. All they're doing is creating some doubt in people that don't know. They're like, well, who is it? Oh, I don't know. I've asked like a couple of people who haven't read the book, so like, who do you think it is? They've got no fucking idea. It's the best. Here's a great example, and I use this example already, and I think it's a really relevant example. When you go back and look at the Harry Potter films, the best Harry Potter film, in many people's estimations, is The Prisoner of Azkaban. And The Prisoner of Azkaban is the first one out of the first three that was not a word-for-word retelling of the book. Now, maybe the word-for-word retelling was necessary in the first two books, because after all, the first two books were a little bit more childish. You know, they probably weren't as well written. But Alfonso Cuarón, who's the guy who directed The Prisoner of Azkaban, basically just was like, yeah, that's cool, but I'm going to make a movie. I'm not going to rewrite a book. And it's probably the best one. Like, it's fucking epic. It's similar, you know, it follows the same story beats, but it's got its own. G'day, MK Finder. It's got its own tones because it's a book adaptation, and I think that's what readers have to. I don't know. I just don't understand. I could not be happier that I'm getting to see one of my favourite book series ever turned into a TV show, and every change that they've made, ones that I was like, oh, that didn't happen in the book. I was excited about something that was different to the books because it was like, ooh, cool. I wonder how that's going to pan out in the long run. Because I know everything that's going to happen in the books. So all of a sudden it's creating some interest for me to watch it. Like I don't understand, friends. Can't we all just be happy that it's the Wheel of Time, mate, the new Wheel of Time series on Amazon. Oh yeah. But you know what? It's because of the fucking internet, man. It's because of social media. The worst thing about the internet is it's given stupid people the perspective that their opinion is important. No one's opinion is important. Mine is not important. Oh, MK Finder. Go get an Amazon Prime subscription. Treat yourself. I never understood that either. Yeah, I actually saw that. I'm gonna hold off on those. I'm gonna wait and watch all of them at once. Hayley Steinfeld's turned into a glamour, hasn't she? 10 out of 10. One of my mates at work finally watched it. I finally had someone to talk to about Ted Lasso. It's bizarre, hey, Jack and Dar, and welcome. Yeah, I've got him up here. I mean, I haven't finished him yet because I want to finish all the other stuff on the non-true metallic metal stuff, so that I can varnish them, and I want to balance the three figures together. No, I'm not enjoying it actually. I'm not enjoying it. And here's why. My process these days is all about working on things together harmoniously, creating a whole singular piece. And because of the way True Metallic works and how I varnish, I find it interrupts my ability to work on the piece as a whole. I love Kevin Smith. He did a reaction video to Avengers Endgame that he cried like a baby, and I was like, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. No, I haven't. Is it worth watching? I don't want to go on a rant. G'day War Machine. I didn't buy any dragons. What dragons would I have bought, mate? Was there some dragons released? Oh, you're talking about the Games Workshop dragons? That everyone's been painting. Cool, I'll check it out. Yep. No, mates, didn't buy any Games Workshop dragons. I don't generally buy Games Workshop figures for painting and excitement. There is a possibility that I will buy a dragon for a diorama one day, but it's not high on my list. I am going to get to paint some of the other Curse City models that are part of that army, whatever they're called. I don't know the name of the army. Someone will tell me. What are they called? Soul Blight Grave? No, they're not Soul Blight Grave Lords, are they? Court of the something. Soul Blight Graveyard. I wouldn't have accepted it, my friend. I would not have accepted it. No, I very much adapt as I go. I don't often have an idea in my head of how things will look when I finish. Usually, what I start with is a colour, an idea, or an atmosphere, like a plan for an atmosphere in a mind. Oh, I don't know that there is a right answer to that, mate, because it's such an individual thing. Like I do it this way because for me the painting, the experience is, a creative one where I don't want to feel like I have to work towards a specific end result. But my mate David, he just plans everything to a T. He understands his colours, he understands everything, and he makes changes as he goes, of course, but yeah, it's not as frequently as I do. If you've watched this stream for a while, you would have seen me. I sometimes like just repaint whole things because I don't like how it's looking. I know he doesn't do that much. I don't know that there is a way to incorporate true metallic metals unless I stopped using as much varnish. And that seems unlikely. Oh yeah, awesome mate, welcome. Yeah, well I stream 3 times a week. Only this particular one you're watching right now is an American friendly time zone. Most of the others are my evening, which is early morning for Americans. Usually starts about 1 o'clock for most people. So yeah, this one's a Saturday afternoon for my American friends, which is excellent. Well, I think the fact that you can ask questions and interact. Awesome. Well, the 3 hours a night's not awesome. But I don't sleep much either. So I did a little muck around on that shield helmet there with orange colours to try and figure out if a bronze would look good and to understand how I was going to paint the true metallic colours. So that was fun, but it made me long for true metallics or non-metallics. Like, yeah, I don't know. I used to be the other way. I used to dread doing non-metallic metals. I used to be like, this is the worst, and I hate them. But yeah, I've just become accustomed to that process, that flow. And if I don't nail it every time, I feel like I've got a pretty defined style now, which makes it easier. Well, one of the ways I get around that is I use a lot of Vallejo Model Air colours for true metallics, which are really good for metallic paints in my experience because they are, much more the consistency that you would be used to using. All right. That's what I just said, Topless. Literally my exact words, you fucking idiot. No, I didn't. I said Model Air. But the metal colours are good. Yeah, the ones that come in the bigger bottles. I know. I'm angry at you, Topless. I'm angry, mate. You're stealing my busts. You're not really. Alright. It's a term that gets bandied out about a lot, but all it really means is just the normal micaceous pigment style paints. At top, we're at season 4 of Schitt's Creek. What a great show. What a fantastic show that is. Can I tell you, my least favourite character in the first season was Moira. She just, every time she was on screen, she was difficult. However, in season 3 and 4, she just is cracking me up because of the words that she uses. She's just always dropping like just words into sentences that I love. Just yeah, so she's become one of my favourites in this season. But it's just all of the main characters are absolute bangers. Like Alexis is just a crack up. See you, MK Finder. Have a good one, my friend. All right, so let's talk more about my my city. Actually, I might just show these because these are sitting here. So, I've been streaming for Word Miniatures once a month, just doing some painting stuff for them. It's been pretty fun actually. So anyway, these are the starting warband of dudes that I have painted on their stream. Where's that hole? Is it there? And they've been really, really fun models to paint, like super fun. So I'm actually doing a giveaway for these people. The next stream is the week before Christmas. Last stream of the year, I think that it is for them. And my plan is we'll paint the bases, do some water effects, and then we're going to do a giveaway. So if you're interested in those malaphobe dudes, Word Miniatures, Play Word, I think is their thing. Word, Weird, whatever it is. Alright, so here's my plan at the moment for my diorama. First of all, it's going to be something I'm going to film from start to finish the process. So at the moment, I have a vision in my head, right? This is the vision. So we have a base. I suppose we could do a 3D base. Alright, so here's my base. And then, I don't think so. And then we're going to have a metal cylinder of some description. It's going to be black. Haven't really decided the shape yet, but let's assume it's like rounded. That plonks into this base. I'm probably going to get a dude. There's a metal worker around the way from my house. So I'm probably going to try and get him to. We'll see if he can make this for me, because it needs to be sturdy, right? Because this is all going to be painted black. All this stuff's going to be black. So ideally, we're going to have all of the cables and all of the what have yous down here, hidden underneath the base. So this is gonna extend up all the way around. Till it reaches this point here. And I'm then gonna have everything suspended from a central point up here. So the whole diorama is going to be suspended. And then there's going to be a cityscape of something. I don't know how. Yet, or what. You know, like shipping container style buildings and, you know, heaps of pipes. Like a weird, maybe train tracks thing, you know, like a road. But I want it to feel like it's a street. Yeah, it's going to be big. So I want it to feel like it's a street that you find in a city that's sort of a floating, futuristic city. So these may extend back here. And there'll be buildings that sort of shoot across here. Lots of flashing neon signs, you know, this sort of stuff. And then kind of like at the bottom of Cloud City in Empire Strikes Back, there'll be like heaps of little things pointing down, and pipes and trash chutes and nuclear reactors and stuff. So this is sort of the overall pitch, right? So all of the cables and wiring will actually come through this pipe. So everything should be connected through that pipe. And I want to have neon signs that light up and lots of flashing lights and blinking lights and blah blah blah. So I have to learn how to. No, this is just my next big project. So I have to learn how to solder LEDs and do all the cables and shit, which should be pretty easy. But one of the things that's really important, yeah, I think it'd be pretty cool. Yeah, so I really want to lean into the floating part. Like that's like, what's the point in doing it like this and in this whole way if we're not going to really have like a gap there so that you see, you know, stuff underneath. So I want that to just be like flat black so that you can't see anything at all happening down the bottom. That everything is just up there. So yeah, a couple of things that I've been thinking about. The first is, it's very, very common for someone who's using LEDs to lean into the LEDs to be the thing that sets the model off. What I would like is for this paint job to stand completely by itself without any LEDs, right? So when you look at it, it looks super cool, and you know, futuristic and grimy and steampunk and cyberpunk and cyberpunk, not steampunk, and really like painted the way I paint, hopefully, without any LEDs considered. But then the LEDs is just like a whole nother part of the story. So you can turn that on and it'll add those sort of cast lights and crazy different effects. So I want to probably do some tests with LEDs on projects where we look at potentially using paints that react to LEDs. So it's a big project. Correct. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was getting at. If we use paints that react when the LEDs turn on, not only is there value in using the LEDs, right? It becomes a part of the storytelling. Oops. But you know, it's just something new, interesting skill to learn. So that's the first part of the plan. So the second part of the plan is the figures. So I'm using a lot of the Nico Galaxy. I've bought every 75mm Nico Galaxy robot chick figure that they've released, which is a lot. It's a lot. Trust me. And I don't actually like some of those models. Yeah, it's going to be big. Like I would think this will probably be a meter. Maybe not a meter. Maybe I'll try and keep it around the same scale as Camelot. So Camelot was 450 millimeters across. So maybe we'll make that 400 or 500 millimeters tall. So there's going to be a lot of things that I need to 3D print, I think. Yeah, just something small like Camelot. And then I've got Ultima Thule as well. So my Ultima Thule plan, let me draw this one out. So this one's just going to be a little bit more generic. I think we're going to go for an oval shape for Ultima Thule. I don't think we're going to rotate Ultima Thule. Like I'm contemplating doing it on a circle like Camelot and doing another Camelot, like the with the rotating circular table. But yeah, so this one we're going to have a big rocky mountain range on one side, and it's going to come down into old Roman columns and ruins, as if there was a Roman outpost that was built in the Hyperborean mountains. G'day, disestablishmentarianism. I'm very well, thank you. I'm currently drawing little pictures, but this is what I'm working on. So we'll get back to this in a second. I have indeed seen that, Robbie's Hobbies. That was part of. I've watched heaps and heaps of like idea things, and the one thing I've seen is that I feel like people haven't leaned into the quality of the painting enough. They've leaned too much on the gimmick of the LEDs in some of the other dioramas I've seen. But that particular artwork that she did is exactly the type of thing we're going for. You have an artwork piece that stands alone, and then you also have the LEDs that adds a different texture to it. So yep, so imagine heaps of Roman columns on the ground, ruined piece and so on, and then this is a snowy mountaintop, big rock columns and so forth. And so this is actually going to be a battle scene. So I'm going to try and convert the Ultima Thule figures to be very much fighting. So So there's a couple of them that are already in the right pose. But yeah, I want to have like magical effects and blah blah blah. So there's going to be heaps of snow, snow topped on these. We're going to have a lot of it's going to be really heavily contrasted. I'm just going to lean into the colours that they use in the diorama, right? The Romans will be red. These ones will be teal or green. Tealy, bluey green, something like that. So this one will be quite a big one. And I reckon we may do this one first, because I think these models are going to arrive first for starters, but this is the one I'm feeling the energy on for the moment. So there's going to be a lot of conversion on this, so I might have this one just percolate for a bit more. Think about the models. When I get the models, think about how I'm going to resculpt bits and blah blah blah. So anyway, that's the plans for the two big dioramas. I think I've got one more up my sleeve at the moment too. What's this one? Oh, that's the three dudes. I know. This is my jam, mate. This is my jam. Thank you, someone for doing something. Just gonna do. Yeah, I think I've shown this before, but